All right. It's Saturday night. I have no date, a 2-liter bottle of Shasta, and my all-rush mixtape. Let's rock.
Welcome to Dylan Has Movies. I'm Dylan, and I have movies. I haven't made a video in a while, and I just recently watched the movie I'll be talking about today, so I figured why not be productive? I'll be covering the 1954 classic sci-fi flick, Tobor the Great, courtesy of Kino Lorber's restoration efforts.
The year is 1954 and the Cold War is in its infancy, and the paranoia of espionage is everywhere. The space race is about to begin, and Professor Nordstrom, played by Taylor Holmes, is concerned for the unknown side effects of manned space travel. So he meets up with Dr. Ralph Harrison, played by Charles Drake, who recently resigned a government position due to their experiments which were needlessly putting human lives in danger specifically for results. Professor Nordstrom, in an effort to still enter space, has developed a robot he aptly named Tobor, whom he has instilled with human emotions, thanks to a telepathic implant built into the robot's brain, which is to replace the need for human astronauts on board. Unfortunately for Nordstrom and Drake, a spy for a foreign country snuck into the press reveal and immediately decides to steal the robot for themselves to be used against the United States. In the commotion, the tech-savvy grandson of Professor Nordstrom, Gage, is kidnapped by the spies, and thanks to the telepathic link he shares with Tobor, the robot soon rushes into action.
Now, despite the poster appearing like some sci-fi epic, there's actually very little action happening until the final act of the film. A large majority of this movie is just scientists giving expository technical jargon on how Tobor himself works. The damn thing's largely stationary for basically the entire film until Gage is kidnapped at the end, and then all hell breaks loose. Now, it's not the movie the poster would have you believe, but it's still pretty fun. But enough about that, let's talk about the restoration.
This release is in a slightly larger aspect ratio of 167:1, so it's a little bit wider than its original aspect ratio. But Tobor the Great is a solid looking transfer. It was shot on 35mm, and the folks at Kino Lorber did a commendable job with the restoration effort. There doesn't seem to be anything lackluster about the film, especially the visuals. The grain structure is very strong. There's only minor wear and tear here and there, but largely speaking, the image is full of details. A lot of textures in clothing, Tobor himself, and the locations yield a surprising amount of clarity, especially in close-up shots. It's not a release that's going to win a ton of accolades, but considering the age and the general ambivalence surrounding the film, I would say that this is the definitive way to watch Tobor.
Hey, Tobor, you're beautiful.
So inside the case, we're actually treated to a little artwork booklet that's containing a lot of little covers from the other Kino Lorber releases that they've done. And it's not a major benefit, but it's a nice little detail. I've actually not come across this before. I've got a few other little booklets, like Rawhead Rex, for instance, has a booklet inside pertaining to information revolving around Rawhead Rex, but this is the first time I've seen one of these, so it was a nice little feature. I appreciate it greatly. Unfortunately, there is a small negative. This release has very little special features. Now, Kino Lorber themselves aren't well known for packing their releases with a ton of special features, usually some, but if you're going to compare it to Criterion, Vinegar Syndrome, Scream Factory, Arrow, Blue Underground, they largely fail in comparison. But like I said in my Wolf of Snow Hollow video, any special features is better than nothing. So for this one, we are treated to a commentary track from film historian Richard Harlan Smith, who was also on Sutton Rowley's Chosen Survivors, which I have behind me. And there's a handful of trailers for other Kino Lorber films that they've released. So, which this one features The Invisible Invaders, Gog, The Magnetic Monster, Journey to the Seventh Planet, and Donovan's Brain, another one I actually own up on the shelf behind me. Unfortunately, it totals maybe 13 minutes of extra footage, which is bare bones. It's very lackluster. But again, any amount of special features is preferable to no amount of special features. So something is better than nothing.
All in all, Tobor the Great isn't an amazing film, and it's not exactly the best example of an unhinged robot on a path of destruction, but I liked it regardless of its shortcomings. It's competently made, Tobor himself has a great design, and the 1950s sci-fi aesthetic is right up my alley. I love that shit. And if you're a fan of the Cold War era dangers of robot sci-fi flicks and you haven't seen Tobor the Great, then you really should. I think regardless of your feelings towards the movie itself, it's safe to say that Kino Lorber has yet again done a really solid job with their release, and I can't say that I've ever been disappointed with having one of their titles on my shelf, and Tobor the Great it surely won't be that first.
Goodbye, Tobor, and good luck.